The thing that is most misunderstood about sports radio is its function. It's not that you're supposed to look. There are shifts, there are day parts where if you want to get into the minutia, if you want to talk about cycling and what they do on special teams and all the other things that go into it, all the details that go into being an NHL team, there are shifts for that. There are hours of that. That's not what a morning show does. That's what a morning show isn't supposed to. I'm supposed to call someone or bring the coach on who will explain those moves. I bring the general manager on. I can bring on one of the players. This is what hosting a morning show does. I'm hard pressed to think that going to work for a job that you hate, for a boss who sucks, for you getting yelled at every day and maybe not getting the money that's worth it to you. Maybe you have a hard day where you're outside every day. Hey, there's a lot of people in Western Canada that listen to that show that weren't just from Calgary. They were also from Saskatchewan. And then these guys would be out working the fields and so on. They wanted to get some laughs in with a little bit of the sports. So what you want to do is be an entertaining guy, and hopefully you have the chops to actually do that. And then on the other side, you call someone who can explain all those things better than I can, better than any probably morning guy can, because there's a reason why they're a morning guy, because they were probably, for the most part, in broadcast and maybe not a great athlete. Look, my background is weird. It's different. I played at a very high level of sports, but I also started doing stand-up when I was in grade 12. Freak and weird. I was a goalie and a drummer. All the weird stuff that goes into this brain where I hear the voices. I'm sitting there looking at a football game. All of a sudden, I hear Peyton Manning going, what he should have done. What he should have done was you got to pull that back. You got to make them read into when you're going to play action pass. You don't just run with it, dummy. That's not RPO. This is what goes on in his head. This is what I have going on. Bob Cole,
I get it.
All kinds of stuff is going on there.
I don't even think it's weird.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show. Good morning, Rod Squad.
Maybe tomorrow I'll tell you guys about the game that I went to in San Antonio with Snoop Dogg. Remember that one, Clark? The Lakers and Spurs? Snoop Dogg and I went, Bob.
How about that?
Snoop Dogg was sitting courtside. I was up in the nosebleeds, but we were in the arena at the same time. I was there with him.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Yes, it is. Welcome to the RP Show. Happy Halloween as we come at you on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio Podcast, and YouTube Live. And, I'm in the South Florida studio. It's episode number 1110. Spooky number. Yeah. Do you notice anything different about me? We'll get to that in a moment. I'm here. And on this happy Halloween, let's welcome the co-host of the program today who has spent a lot of time on his Halloween outfit today.
How about that?
Yeah. Are we ready for this? Everybody? North America?
Happy Halloween.
Moose? It was happy at one time, up until about 10 seconds ago. Explain yourself.
It was, it was between this and Ron Duguay, and it was a little easier to source overalls and a cowboy hat on the eve of Halloween than it was a New York Rangers jersey. So, happy Halloween. And the Flames didn't win, but I know you thought the Oilers looked a little better coming in, but they made a statement. The Heritage Classic.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice work, Moose. Way to go, Moose. For our radio listeners and podcast listeners, he is wearing overalls, and that's all. And a white cowboy hat. The Calgary Welcome to Calgary hat. So there
I will
you go.
not be going out in Toronto like this. Not happening.
Why not? What? You scared?
A little bit.
Do it. Leafs are home tonight. Wear that to the game tonight. Now you gotta dare. I dare you. What's the matter? Scared? Okay, thanks, Moose. Thanks for playing along. And by the way, can you hit the quick six show horn, please, Director Jordan? Director Jordan is positively giddy Darren, and for the masses that are watching, because we have a new computer, a new technical setup down here, he says that it's far more clear. It's a better picture. To me, I'm just not a tech guy. We leave that to people like Jordan and Ryan and all the rest. So way to go, Jordan. I'm glad. If you're happy, I'm happy. And coming up on the program today in terms of guests, our good friend Colin Pedersen, Stanley Cup champion with the Calgary Flames. CP's joining us, not for what you would think. Yeah, we're going to talk about the plight of the Flames, but also the Breaking Free Foundation inaugural charity poker tournament coming up at Ace Casino, raising money for Theron Fleury's foundation that provides free counseling for trauma survivors and victims. So, yeah, it's going to get a little serious on both fronts. Darren, you want to pop into the interview with that outfit on and just cheer us up? Cheer up CP?
Yes.
Would you be willing to do that?
I'll do that.
Okay, at about 22 the hour. All right. And Rod Black, God knows what he's going to be wearing today. Rod Black, he's a real trickster, the original voice of the Toronto Raptors and CFL on TSN legend Rod Black's going to be with us. And, yeah, let's get into the baseball. Hit the horn again, Jordan. Did he leave the room? Can you hit it again, Jordan? Let's see if he's paying attention. Does the horn work? Okay, it's working. We open with baseball. Number one, Corey Sager launched a 2-run homer and made a slick defensive play in the 8th inning to start a crucial double play. Veteran Max Scherzer combined with 4 relievers for a gem on the mound, and the visiting Texas Rangers beat the Arizona Diamondbacks 3-1 Monday to take a 2-1 lead in the World Series. Game 2 goes tonight in Phoenix, Arizona. Now, was I watching? No, I was watching hockey. However, Rhonda writes in, Moose, on the EMJ Marketing text line. At EMJ Marketing, they'll provide the perfect keynote speaker for your event. Look up Joe at emjmarketing.com. Rhonda writes in and says, hey, Rod, not everyone in Canada watches hockey. There are some baseball fans up here, and I'm one of them. The D-backs are playing old school small ball, 3 bunts in 1 game, unheard of in the last 20 years, and they have speed on the bases. Scherzer on the mound tonight for Rangers, but I don't think he'll go 5 innings. I think the D-backs will hit him and win Game 3. That didn't happen, but at least she's playing along. This was Rhonda writing in, Moose, from Swift Current. So, no, I was watching the Panthers and the Bruins, and that will lead us into our next point, but at least I'm staying on top of it. Texas beat Arizona 3-1. Are you paying attention to the World Series?
Yeah, a little bit. Again, I was with you watching mostly hockey last night, but I'm checking the phone. I'm flipping to Monday Night Football, trying to flip to the baseball game. I like that it was, honestly, it was a little later, right? The 8:15 pitch, first pitch, or 8:07 or whatever it was, out east. It was easier to pay attention because a lot of the hockey was done. Could watch some of that, watch a little baseball. So I wasn't fully engaged in it, but I was definitely following.
Texas Rangers lead the World Series 2-1 going into Game 3 tonight in the Valley of the Sun. Now, point 2 of our Quick 6 show topics here. Texas's extra inning comeback victory over Arizona in Game 1 on Friday was the least watched Game 1 recorded in World Series TV history. Now, bear with me here. The Rangers' 6-4 win over the D-backs in 11 averaged 9.35 million viewers on Fox. The World Series was, though, the most watched event on television Friday night by a pretty wide margin. For instance, an episode of The Price is Right averaged 3.01 million. That's The Price is Right. The least watched World Series game remains Game 3 in 2020, which averaged 8.34 million, and that was in the bubble in Arlington, Texas. So let me just say this. We're in the most competitive time in the history of sport. And what jogged my mind on that, the sports media, sports television, which I've, make a living in and have made a career in. The other night, yesterday, we were at the Beach House in Pompano. You've been there, chatting with Thad. And yes, he brought this up, the manager there. He sponsors our Cats and Bolts podcast. He was like, no, I don't follow the NFL. I don't know who Ricky Williams is. Because the other night at the Panthers game, Bill Lindsay said to me, he looked at me, I'll never forget the look on his face. Bill Lindsay, the Panthers great, goes, you got Ricky Williams on your show? I'm like, yeah. He goes, nobody gets Ricky Williams anywhere. I said, well, we did. Thad didn't know who he is, the manager of the Beach House. But he's a soccer guy. And Thad pointed out, 20 years ago, he goes, White couldn't even watch soccer over here. I was lucky to get a score on the internet, but now all the games are on. Do you see why the ratings are decreasing, not just for sports, but for everything? Because everything's available now, Darren, right? So this is not as alarming as the headline suggests. Agree or disagree?
I completely agree. It's not that people aren't watching sports. As you kind of alluded to, the pie is just being split up into more pieces. There's more things available, more attention to be divided. And the other thing is they said on TV. So I don't know that accounts streaming numbers, which probably fill in a lot of the gap. It did, okay. But still, most watched, and it's just, more variety means we're going to split our time up into more things. That's all.
Yeah, and rightly or wrongly, we're all in this together in this show, the Rod Squad. Our crew, our viewers, our broadcast partners, WQEE Radio, Game Plus Television, streaming, and all the rest. And my point about that is, I had a broadcast friend, let's just call him Perry. And you know who that is? He said, in today's sports landscape, sports media landscape, he goes, if you are growing at all, it's a grand slam. Because if you're just treading water, it's a win. If you're growing even incrementally, it's a grand slam. And having said all of that, I open up the text line 902-518-3033. John Codman writes in and says, hello, Roddy. This is John Codman, former principal at Milestone School and great friends with your mom and dad. Really enjoying your show from Kimberley, BC. Beautiful part of the world, Kimberley, BC. It's a postcard every day. Spring, summer, fall, you name it. And can somebody confirm or deny this rumor that we are no longer part of a free preview on Shaw Cable Channel 230? For September and October, I think it was a free preview, Game Plus on Shaw. And now, no soup for you. Because my very good friend Vaughn texted me the other day from Airdrie, and he's like, I come home and I can't get your show. He's in a panic. And I'm like, settle down, Grasshopper, call Shaw. And that's what the whole idea of a free preview is. So do you know the answer to that, Darren? Do the people at Game Plus know? Because I sure the hell don't. I'm just the barker. I'm not the cable guy. What do you know about that?
Bingo!
Yeah, great question. If you call Shaw, they probably won't answer. So call Rogers. They'll pick up the phone. and see if you need it added to your sports package. I don't have an answer for you on that one.
I have not dialed up the YouTube comments yet, so I'm sure there's a lot of people dialing into the program today thinking that one half of the show is a male stripper.
Approved.
Which, Moose, you considered having a career in. Are we allowed to talk about that? Does your better half know that? Or
I don't know. She's
that?
not here. I don't know why I look over there. She's not here today. And I don't know if she's watching. So I don't know. We could probably have that conversation today. I feel safe that she's not going to go back and watch this.
It's not a male stripper. It's Darren's Halloween costume. He is dressed up as a Calgary Flame from the Outdoor Classic, which, speaking of, moving on to point 3, Mika Zibanejad scored .434 into overtime to lift the New York Rangers to a 3-2 victory over the Winnipeg Jets that extended their NHL win streak to 5 games. And it was the first time in Rangers history the team has won every game on a road trip that's been at least 5 games. Zibanejad's one-timer that beat Connor Hellebuck was set up by Artemi Panarin, who scored on his birthday and added a pair of assists to stretch his season-opening point streak to 9 games. So again, Rangers 3, Jets 2 in overtime. My very quick point on that, Winnipeg, is that it's a point against a non-conference opponent. It's a win, even though it was at home. It was one of the best teams in the NHL, the Rangers. That's it. I don't think they should be too upset there. Very touching moment for Blake Wheeler as he returned to Winnipeg as well. Elsewhere, this had my interest. Michael Carsoni had 3 goals and a helper in his first career hat trick in Arizona. Pounded Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks 8-1 Monday night. Connor Bedard scored 28 seconds into the game, and then it was all Arizona. In Boston, Pavel Zacha scored with 84 seconds left in overtime, and Boston rallied from 2 goals down to beat Florida 3-2. So the comeback Cats got a little bit of their own medicine. And, yeah, those were my highlights from Monday. These are the leftovers from the National Hockey League. Did you have some, or are you all just excited about the Leafs and the Kings tonight at Scotiabank Arena?
That'll be good. But I was, you know what? I was looking forward to Arizona, Chicago. And I flipped that one on, and bang, there's Bedard scoring, and then nothing else the rest of the night. It was all Coyotes. So I didn't watch the whole game there, and I was flipping back and forth. But that was the one I was most interested. I think the Coyotes, I mean, they're kind of floating 500 hockey here, but trying to get up off the mat in the National Hockey League and kind of take a step forward. It was a good effort last night.
Bingo. John Ohm is checking in from Winnipeg, too. He says the Winnipeg Jets 4-3 overtime power play was scary. Thank you, John. Happy Halloween, everybody. And again, Darren is not dressed as a male stripper. I don't think. I think that's why I was unnerved as I was about the Flames outfits the other day. And by the way, nothing on them. It's all on me. I have to examine why I'm so uncomfortable by the mere sight of half-naked men. It didn't turn me on. Let's put it that way. So, yeah. It's from Kevin the Medium chimes in. He says, no more free preview. From John Glowa, a former broadcast partner of mine, he says, no more free preview. Actually, he says, no more show on Shaw. No, John. It's still on Shaw, but now you got to pay for it. That's the whole idea of a free preview, Darren. Am I right or am I right, Darren? We gave it to you for 2 months for free. Now you got to call Rogers and Shaw and pay for it. It's a couple months. Are we not worth it? We are the only fans of the sports talk fraternity. I see all these new viewers, Darren. All those lines are new to them. We're the only fans. Drop in a little cash and you'll get us every day for 2 hours. That's a pretty good rate, you know? I think that's a pretty good rate.
I understand.
Nothing. 2.4, Jimmy Garoppolo didn't try to dodge the blame Monday night. He knew that his poor performance was the biggest reason the Las Vegas Raiders couldn't pull off an upset on the road against the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football. Raiders lost 26-14. In Jimmy G's return from a back injury, he only completed 10 passes for 126 yards and threw a key first-half interception. Despite missing time, Garoppolo leads the NFL with 9 interceptions. And I understand that the fans are always going to panic. That's why fans are short for the term fanatics. But look at all of the conjecture. We're not even halfway through the NFL season. And I wonder what your take is on the Las Vegas Raiders, because Davante Adams freaked out. It's an interesting time. We got to be careful with fake news. It's why I am very, very, very protective of my brand and my credibility in this business. Because, for instance, Davante Adams, I wasn't watching the end of Monday Night Football, but I guess he threw his helmet into the bench or yelled at his teammates, curses. And that was a headline in USA Today today. Davante Adams blows a gasket at the end of Monday Night Football. Well, yeah, they lost. Like, why is that a big deal that he would do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they're speculating if he'll get traded. Adam Schefter came out this morning and said it's not happening. He won't get traded ahead of the deadline. But he was frustrated. He was sitting on the bench by himself. And then in the post game, they asked him about it, and he said, "Look, I'm not going to say anything, as the media will just take it and run with it. But I'm frustrated." He said he's frustrated. And he had 2 opportunities where he was streaking down the sideline, wide open, and Jimmy G couldn't get the ball anywhere near him. You know, he'd have had 2 big, one was about a 95-yard touchdown pass he would have had and walked into the end zone. The quarterback can't get him the ball. He's frustrated because he's used to playing with Aaron Rodgers his whole career. And he signed in Vegas to play with Derek Carr. Derek Carr's not there anymore. Josh McDaniels can't get the offense going. And Davante Adams feels like he's stuck in quicksand and can't really do anything, and he's not having a lot of fun.
Well, boo-hoo. Look, we got to pause. We're only halfway through the Quick Six show topics. On the way, Colin Pedersen, Calgary Flames Stanley Cup champion, and Rod Black. He doesn't need any introduction here. Just a brief pause for the cause. Smoke him if you got him. And we'll be right back on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
RP Show continues on this Tuesday, episode number 1110 of your favorite daytime sports talk show, where all the topics are on the table. Never too many, never too many. And I'm feeling charitable today, and I will bring in a lot more viewer comments earlier on in the program than we normally do. 902-518-3033 is the number to reach us in the South Florida studio. Let's bring in Moose. He's in Toronto on this Halloween day. No, he wouldn't normally dress like that. Yeah. Are you comfortable in that outfit? Are you comfortable? Tell me.
You know what? Actually, I'm pretty comfortable right now. I am. Yeah, it's okay. I'm at home. It's not cold outside.
I don't mean physically comfortable. I mean emotionally comfortable.
I know.
Asked because I was at the tailor, getting all these shirts that you very nicely got for me 5 years ago when we started this show. I still have them. They're Under Armour, man. They're in great shape. I had to get them tailored. Yeah. And I was down to the last show shirt, and the lady was like, "Well, take that one off your back, and we'll tailor that too." So I ripped it off, and I'm standing in the lobby of the tailor place. shirt with nothing but a pair of basically my bathing suit. Highly uncomfortable. So it's very clearly a me thing, not an everybody else thing. Quick note here for the curling fans. Brad Gushue of St. John's, Newfoundland, improved to 2-1 at the Pan-Continental Curling Championships in Kelowna with a pair of wins, including a 7-5 victory in 11 ends against the U.S. Monday. Gushue's team will play unbeaten Japan today. On the women's side, Carrie Anerson of Gimli, Manitoba, puts her 2-1 record on the line with games against New Zealand and the unbeaten U.S. today. That's 5 points of the quick six, and my sixth is what's coming up in the world of sports tonight, including 2 NHL games and a rematch of the 1993 Western Conference Final, the Clarence Campbell Conference Final between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the LA Kings tonight. We got all of hour 2 to get into that. I'm not going to get into that here. Darren, they want to discuss our topics that we've brought up already, which I'm sure you're fine with doing that. Bomber Boy in Calgary writes in. He says, he goes, unnerving. Yes, it is. But he said that you followed his suggestion. Was it his idea that you dress up as a Calgary Flame going into the Heritage Classic? Was that his idea?
Well, we called for suggestions yesterday. I actually never saw any of them through the comments or the text line. I didn't go in and actually look because we kind of figured this out. So I appreciate the suggestion.
Yeah, Bomber Boy also says, I have to watch replays often because of all of the content available. So, and that you can thank the internet for that. You can thank COVID for that. It's really knocking the stuffing out of the television and radio broadcast industry, but we still watch TV and listen to the radio. That's what I don't understand. That's the one thing when I talk to businesses and they're like, well, we're putting all our money into podcasts. Really? Which ones? Crickets. How would they know which ones to put, we're so grateful for the ones that we have on the Cats and Bolts podcast, and then obviously our wonderful sponsors on this. Because listen, I get it. I'm here now, year 3 in Florida. I thought I could very tidily morph the audience of the Florida crowd and the Canadian show. Boop. Didn't work that way. They don't care here about the CFL or the Canadian teams. And in Canada, they don't really care about the Florida Panthers and Tampa Bay Lightning and Dolphins. So that's why I split it off into 2 shows, and it's going great. And that's what we do, is talk about the things that we always have. Now, having said that, 2 quick ones. Kirk in Toronto writes in on the 902 line. He says, hey, Rod, is it too warm in your Florida studio to wear a Halloween costume? No, it's just not really my thing anymore. Probably when I was Darren's age, I would wear Halloween costumes. The last time I did, I talk about it every year at this time, I went dressed as Brett Favre. It was a long time ago because I know I was still drinking. I found it very funny then. I think I had a Whizzinator sticking out the fly of my jeans. I had a Vikings jersey, a gray wig, and Crocs. And I believe I won an award.
That's pretty good.
You're smiling already. Can you imagine?
That's
it was good.
Yeah.
Went over very big. Speaking of the Vikings, Richard. Hey, I like you, Richard. He's watching in Grand Prairie, Texas, on the Game Plus television network, and he says, Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins is out. What about Nathan O'Rourke? He's NFL ready, I think. Trade for him. Here's the Vikings or Packers need him. That's from Richard in Grand Prairie, Texas. Texas is one of our main states for viewership in the good old USA. And it's interesting. What the notion that I'm getting, and Tori Gurley addressed this yesterday on this program, this fine program, was that the Vikings don't have anybody on their roster that can fill in for Kirk Cousins, who's out for the year. So isn't it ironic, don't you think, that there was talk of Cousins being traded in advance of the deadline? Is it today? It's this week, right? Is it today?
It's today.
Yeah, and Nathan O'Rourke is still patrolling around the Jaguars. You see that his stalker, Justin Dunk, was tweeting that he was, Rourke was on the sidelines of the Steelers, although not in uniform in Sunday's game. It's going to be a trade, and I appreciate you, Richard, in Grand Prairie, Texas, watching us today on NFL Trade Deadline Day, but there's nobody on their rosters. What do you think that currently they think can save this season, which incidentally, we talked about the Vegas Raiders here last segment. They got 3 wins. The wild card holders right now have 4. So although they're frustrated with the way their season's going, and he leads the NFL in interceptions, it's not a write-off yet. Yeah, Carolina, absolutely. Some of these teams with 1, 2 wins, yeah, but I don't think anybody. That's why I think the Vikings are looking at maybe going out and getting, are knowing they have to go out and get somebody because their season can still be saved.
They're right in the mix. They are absolutely right in the mix. They've turned a corner. A lot of that has to do with Kirk Cousins, so that's unfortunate. Nathan Rourke, we might think and believe that he could save the season. Great. But that's still a huge risk for a team that's in contention to take. They're not going to take a risk. They would go with somebody on their own roster if that was the case. The name that's come up that I've seen in the media sprinkled around that could be traded for, and this is the name I think they should get, is Jameis Winston out of New Orleans. He's not playing right now. You know, Derek Carr's playing. He's a guy who has a big arm, throws a lot of touchdown passes, was very good last year. And with Justin Jefferson and Jalen Addison really at the top of their games, you could get a cannon and a playmaker like Winston. They could really get that offense going and make a run here. So I'd like to see them make a move and a push for Jameis.
So to the audience, I, at my own peril, have opened up the YouTube comments, and there's there's some good ones in here. Jordan writes in and says, Moose, you're looking like one of the Flames showing up to the Heritage Classic. I'm sure that was the idea, Jordan puts in brackets. Camper says, did I miss the hee-haw honeys? Camper, that is certainly over the heads of most of our crew, maybe even over mine. Hee-haw is an old-time show that used to be on, I don't even know what channel. Jennifer from the Four Seasons checks in. She says, good morning, everyone. She says, I'm dressed as a surly bartender today. LOL, which is what she dresses as every day. From Ryan in upstate New York, good A-Rod squad. I had to rewind to figure out what Darren's costume was, and then I thought it was a Vince Wilfork Hard Knocks tribute. And I was wrong. LOL. It really tells you who follows NHL hockey and who doesn't. I mean, if you turned on the TV and you saw Darren dressed like that, you would, if you followed the NHL, you would know immediately what it was. If you didn't follow the NHL, you would immediately have no idea what it was. Wayne in Victoria, BC says, what I love about the RP show is all the sports covered as well as the interactive nature of the show. That's the one thing people need to understand. 20 seasons is the voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders here, and I had no room in my cranium for anything else but the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And I had nothing. Nothing personally, nothing else professionally, only the Roughriders. That was my job, and when I got out of it, I'm like, I don't want to do that again. Be locked down to one team and only pay attention to one team. I want to pay attention to every league and every team. It's far more interesting than to sit and piss and moan about what's wrong with the Calgary Flames. Just my opinion. Not saying I'm right, but we have everybody here today, so clearly they agree. From our guy, John Glowa, I'm glad you brought this up, JG. John Glowa writes in, he says, British police open investigation into the death of hockey player Adam Johnson. To be honest, I'm a little disgusted by the story, but I'm glad that he wrote that because it pertains to our poll question today for Key Auto Group. It's a wonderful segue. And somewhere in here, I had a word. Yeah, here it is. About Key Auto Group. At the Key Auto Group, you can buy with confidence knowing that they provide reports on all vehicles they sell. Get fully informed about your next vehicle by going to keyautogroup.ca. The poll question today for Key Auto Group is, should throat protectors be mandatory, neck protectors, at the pro and junior level? And I'm very interested to see what they are saying on Twitter about it. Clark, do you have a YouTube sample size? I'm just pulling up the Twitter to see what they're saying. 84% saying, 76% on Twitter saying yes. The time has come. The Adam Johnson police report is about the dumbest thing I've ever heard, and to be honest, I think it's just disgusting to me unless I'm missing something. I haven't watched the video because I know if I do, I'll never be able to unsee it. I know what happened, but there's no I'm not even going to dignify that there's criminal intent involved, unless you want to, Darren, but I'm not.
I haven't watched it. I don't want to watch it. I don't want it to be about that. So no, I'm with you. Again, I'll let them deal with it. If they deem that there is, then we got a whole bigger issue to deal with. But right now, it's about the player, it's about the family, it's about the teammates, and for me, it's not about that. So I don't have any plans to watch it or look it up.
I'm chuckling because I'm looking at the comments here. Obviously not chuckling about this story with Adam Johnson. From Jason in Red Deer says, it's hard to tell from the video that looks like it was shot on a first-generation iPhone, but it didn't look like the slash was on purpose at all. Just stop. Just stop. Shut up about it. John Glow, I love this. John, you got to stop because he's too funny. He'll take over the show. He's a new viewer, and he's hilarious. I know him very well. He says, Moose, I thought you were going to dress up for Halloween. John, stop it.
It's like the Beverly Hillbillies getting lost in downtown Toronto. Oh, he came from Saskatchewan, and now he's trolling around the big city. Yeah.
Exactly. But you know what? I'll just say this, and Colin Pedersen lined up ready to go next. Calgary Flames, great, and from the Breaking Free Foundation. But it's time to wear the throat protectors. Now, he played a long time in the NHL. He might have a different take. I'm so much of not a baseball guy that I was watching a ball game with Serena here recently, and Bo Bichette was out to his leadoff at first, and he had this thing flopping on his hand. I said, what the hell's that thing flopping on his hand? She goes, oh, that's the gloves they wear in case they slide in and, get stepped on. I'm like, when did they start wearing those? And she's like, well, they've been wearing them for at least a couple of years. And I look at these NFL running backs and linebackers in training camp with these puffy helmets on. They look like absolute idiots. If they are going to do that, then NHL players and junior players should at least wear some modicum of throat protection. And if that's, as I said yesterday, if Adam Johnson is his legacy, because you never want to die in vain, you want to try and find some sort of silver lining in a tragedy, maybe this is it. Anyways, Darren, I'll see you in hour 2.
See you then.
Colin Pedersen is in next. Lots to talk about with him. The Flames, great. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQE E-Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Things are rolling on the ice in Saskatchewan. This is the SJHL report. I'm Darren DuPont. Let's look at the scores from the weekend. The Humboldt Broncos still without a regulation loss. They doubled up the Kindersley Clippers 6-3 Friday night. On Saturday, after losing Friday, Melville got past Flin Flon 3-2, an upset there. And on Sunday, the Nipawin Hawks rolling over Notre Dame by a score of 6-1. So to the standings, everybody's still chasing Flin Flon, 13-1-1. And Estevan, 2 points out of 8th, right behind the Larange Ice Wolves. 3 big games to watch this week. On Thursday, Melfort visits Flin Flon, 2 of the top 3 teams in the league, and a pair of big games on Friday. Humboldt is at Nipawin, a couple of high-powered offenses, and on Friday, the league MVP, Kean Bell, continues to roll Yorkton at the Battlefords. That game on Friday night. That's the SJHL report for this week. I'm Darren Dupont.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hockey today. By the way, our hockey coverage is brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company in Calgary. Head down to the tap room every Thursday through Saturday, noon to 8 p.m. They're at 28th Street Northeast in Calgary. Check out Common Crown Brewing at commoncrown.ca. We're very pleased to welcome our good friend Colin Pedersen, who might be joining us from the Common Crown tap room. He spends a lot of time there. Is that where you're at, Patter? Common Crown tap room?
No, I took the morning off. Took the morning off today.
Oh, man. You're like the celebrity brewmaster. I love it. I love it.
They're great, great people there.
Yes, I know they love you, and I think you have your own brewing, your own line of beer there. We'll get into that in a second. Listen, I'm trying to open this with a laugh because we got some pretty serious topics to get to here. We might as well start. Colin, 504 games in the NHL, mostly with the Calgary Flames, couple seasons with Buffalo at the end, won a Stanley Cup in '89. Dude, what is it like in Calgary right now with this team 31st in the NHL?
Well, it's a little tight right now. People are pretty upset, and I don't blame them. I mean, you want to see your team start off. They've made a bunch of changes, which the players were asking for, and you just haven't seen the results yet. And I was up at the game in Edmonton the other day. It was great setting. Everything was perfect, and the Flames just didn't play well. They, I don't know if they're trying to work differently than they normally do or trying to outthink things, but you sometimes just go back to basics and work hard and prepare yourself for the game and do what you can do and don't try and do the extra.
Well, I felt it was a 5-2 eventual Oilers win. We all saw it. I saw you were there with Joel Otto. You guys never disappoint doing your Flames alumni thing, but I also know how close you are with Ryan Huska. I know that doesn't seem like he's getting a lot of heat. It's all on the players right now. But my whole thing, Colin, is that this was not going to happen overnight. What are you advising people? What are you counseling Flames fans? What are you saying to fans on the street right now?
Well, I mean, it's still early in the season, but you're behind already. And, there's an old saying in the NHL that by the time that U.S. Thanksgiving hits, if you're not in a playoff spot then, your chances of making the playoffs are very slim. So they've got a few more weeks here to get going. And that's the big thing. Now there's a big sense of urgency. Where at this point you thought, hey, if you're 500, that's great, but you're not. And now there's going to be some added pressure, which, the players take upon themselves too. And as I said earlier, you try and do things that maybe you shouldn't be doing. You're trying to do the little extra. You're trying to make that little extra move. You're trying to make that perfect pass. When just get back to the basics. Just get it in, get on them. They got to have a bit more hitting, in my mind, and a little more, anxiousness about their game and play with some angst. And if they do, I think they'll be okay. I think they still have the talent, but, talent's only as good as the work you put behind it.
Well, that was my next question, and you can pick a hockey player out from a mile away. Are they good enough? What do you think?
Well, I think they're good enough to be better than what they're doing right now. Are they good enough to win the cup? That all depends on a lot of things, but I think they're good enough to make the playoffs. But they've got to start proving it, and they've got to, start playing. Every player, whether you're the top end player or the guy who's on the fourth line, which I think their fourth line's probably been their best line. They've got to play, and you got to play hard every game, every shift. You can't take a shift off, and that's so important for them right now. You see moments of good, they're back, and then all of a sudden they let up. Was the power play ready for a 5-on-3 early on in that game? Well, they didn't seem to be, but they should have been. And, you got to be ready, you got to be set, you got to be focused. There's only a couple things you can control, and I think Paul Coffey told the Oilers, you control your effort that you put out there every night, but you can also, control how prepared you are for the game and how set you are. So from that opening shift to the final shift, you can't play the game out without playing every shift. And I think that's where the guys really need to focus on and be ready and prepared, because they have the talent. I mean, it's not an issue of talent. Right now, it's an issue of working hard, but working smart.
Yeah, and that's the thing, that market in Calgary, you can't fool them. They know hockey.
No.
They can smell whether they smell whether you're working or not. They know. So God bless them. Godspeed. I'm sure they'll pull it around. Just a last thing before we talk about the charity poker tournament coming up. How was the Heritage Classic? It looked just amazing on television.
It was a great event. It was a lot of fun, and the setting was perfect. The weather was great. I mean, it wasn't too cold. It wasn't too warm. I mean, it was perfect. I thought the setup was wonderful. We took a bus up, Joel Otto and myself, with a bunch of Flame sponsors and season ticket holders, and it was really fun. It happened to be Joel's birthday, which I don't know how they knew. I just don't know how they knew it was Joel's birthday. So he had a couple of renditions of Happy Birthday. I don't believe it slipped out of my mouth. Yeah, I don't believe it slipped out of my mouth, but maybe it did.
Well, I'm glad that you had a good time. Hey, and by the way, before we talk about that tournament, I was at a event the other day here in South Florida, and I was eavesdropping. You believe it or not, Pat, at the next table. And this person, because there's a lot of Ontario people come down here to Florida, as you know, and they said, I'm from Rexdale, Ontario. And I said, Rexdale? I know a guy from there. Yeah, exactly. So, they said to say, hey, I said, as a matter of fact, he's going to be on my show this week. So there you go, man, waving the flag of Rexdale, Ontario. So you got a big event coming up at Ace Casino. Let's talk about the Breaking Free Foundation inaugural charity poker tournament.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's at Ace Airport Casino. It's on Saturday, November 4th, starting at 3 p.m. It's $275 to enter, and then you can do some rebuys and add-ons. But it should be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to a great day and a great time. It includes a buffet meal. So, you know what? Theo's going to be there, and myself, and it's all in support of the Breaking Free Foundation, as you mentioned, Rod. And what we do is we support people who have gone through trauma and support their time through the trauma issues. And what we do with that money is we get grants for $750 to match people up with a trauma therapist and psychologist, so that matches what their trauma they're going through. We don't rank trauma. It comes in all different forms. There's, physical, mental, there's, people losing family members, so that's what we try to do, is help people, with their trauma situation. We have about 250 people on our waiting list. We have a board of 4 people, myself, Theo, Amber Craig, and Wayne Schwinnard, and we're volunteers. We put all our money into, getting these grants. And so the money coming in goes out to the grants, and we try to hit down that list. We don't, private funding. We do what we can do. And every person that we can help makes a difference. And, we always say, hey, if you can help one person get through a traumatic situation, that's a great situation. And we've helped a lot of people, but there's still a ton more to help. And, when we talk about the poker tournament, we talk about the golf tournament, we talk about a lot of things about Breaking Free. It brings awareness to what we're doing, and more people go online and sign up. which is great because they know there's a place they can go to get help. But it's also, it's a bit of a curse too, because now we need more money to help these people get through. So we're hoping that we get a lot of people out to this poker tournament and raise a bunch of money.
I know exactly what you're talking about because I heard Amber say that. She was like, we got these free ads on the radio here in Calgary, but all it did was make our waiting list longer. She was, all these people came out of the way, so you need to help these people. So for anybody watching right now, particularly across southern Alberta, how do they get in touch? How do they purchase their spot
you can go
on November 4th?
Yeah, on Ace Casino websites, and then you go to the airport Ace Casino, and you can register there. And if you want, you can go to the Breaking Free Foundation too. Yeah.
All right. Well, follow their social media, DM them there. Yeah, well, there's no excuse to say we didn't know where to register. DM me, DM Colin. We'll get you to the right place. Patter, this goes by far too fast. I appreciate it. Go Flames. I hope by the next time you come back, we'll be talking about a winning streak.
You know what, Rod? I hope so. And thanks very much for having me on. And, I appreciate all the support you give the Breaking Free Foundation too.
Absolutely, man. Can't wait to see you again. Enjoy the hockey.
Yeah, and give my love to the people from Rexdale when you see them again.
I absolutely will. There's a lot of them here, believe it or not. Colin Pedersen joining us, Stanley Cup champion with the Calgary Flames from the Breaking Free Foundation. We'll be back with a sports update and audience takeover right after this. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
It's a sports update as promised, and then as many audience questions as we can, and then we'll be out of hour one into hour two. Can you believe that? The Western Hockey League announced Seattle Kraken prospect Jagger Firkus of the Moose Jaw Warriors has been named WHL Player of the Week. The 5'11", 160-pound forward from Irma, Alberta, recorded 9 points in 4 games with the pesky Warriors this past week. Meanwhile, Prince George Cougars rookie goalie Joshua Ravensbergen has been named WHL Goalie of the Week. The 16-year-old from North Vancouver only played in 1 game, but went 1-0 with a perfect 0.00 goals against average and save percentage of 1,000, and obviously a shutty. How about this? The top 20 from the Canadian Junior Hockey League rank. The Flin Flon Bombers are the #1 team in all of Canadian Junior A hockey.
Bingo! How about that?
We had a Bomber fan texting, the other day, a Bomber fan by the name of Dallas writing in here the other day, bragging about his Bombers. Well, here you go, #1 in the country. #2, the Collingwood Blues of the Ontario Junior Hockey League. #3, the Humboldt Broncos. #4, the Brooks Bandits. #5, the Winkler Flyers. #6, the Smith Falls Bears. #7, the Black Falls Bulldogs. #8, the Steinbach Pistons. #9, the Miramichi Timberwolves from the Maritime Hockey League. And #10, the Dauphin Kings. How about that?
I like it.
The Centennial Cup this year is in Oakville, Ontario. Right, Clark? It's Oakville, correct? Pretty sure.
Approved.
Hope to be there. Sports updates are brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. And also, Landmark Cinemas in theaters now. 5 Nights at Freddy's. Can you survive 5 nights? The terrifying horror game phenomenon becomes a blood-chilling cinematic event as producer Blumhouse brings 5 Nights at Freddy's to the big screen. The film follows a troubled security guard as he begins working at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. While spending his first night on the job, he realizes the night shift at Freddy's won't be so easy to make it through. Ooh. 5 Nights at Freddy's playing now in Landmark Cinemas. 902-518-3033. We only got a minute left. Wilf writes in from Steinbach, Manitoba, and says, Moose's costume is daily wear in my hometown of Weyburn and Milestone. Maybe that's why I'm so unnerved by it. Yeah. I'm obviously reading the comments here. Rhonda writes in from Swift Current, and she says, weird common facts about 2001 and 2023 World Series. So the D-backs won in 01. Does this mean they'll win in 7 this year? I'm aware Corey Seager, I might have mispronounced it. I know who he is. Baseball, people. That's why we don't talk about it. Hour 2 coming up right after this.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the City of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Good morning, Rod Squad. Bingo.
Maybe tomorrow I'll tell you guys about the game that I went to in San Antonio with Snoop Dogg. Remember that one, Clark? The Lakers and Spurs? Snoop Dogg and I went, Bob.
How about that?
Snoop Dogg was sitting courtside. I was up in the nosebleeds, but we were in the arena at the same time. I was there with him.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yeah, buddy. Thank you, Rick Regan. Welcome into hour 2 of the RP Show, your favorite daytime sports talk show, rocking in the free world here in hot and sunny South Florida, 29 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that works out to Fahrenheit, around 84 or something. Here in hour 2, for those that don't know, we've put hour 1 to bed, and we kind of look forward to what's going on in the world of sports tonight. Darren Moose DuPont is with us on Halloween. If you didn't notice, episode number 1110 is at hand. There he is. You did not change, huh? Didn't want to change? You wanted to stay? Are you going trick-or-treating in that, Moose? Are you going trick-or-treating in that?
Yeah, do you think, what would be your reaction if a 36-year-old man in overalls showed up at your door?
I would slam the door in your face and run. I would say, how much for the pizza? That would be it. Yeah. Bill Edwards writes in from the Queen City, where we're very big in the Queen City. 902-518-3033. He texts in and says, Darren is dressed like the Moonshiners show star. What is the Moonshiners? What channel is it on our streaming platform? I wouldn't even know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Somebody's got to do a search and throw a picture in the chat or on the text line. I don't know what that is.
You know, we went so fast in hour 1 in the Quick Six, which we normally do. We didn't spend a lot of time on this, but I think it's important that we do. You know, back in the day, before you were even born, there were only an X amount of channels and X amount of leagues and options available to us. And, you know, we talked about the World Series. Game 3 is tonight. Texas leads the Arizona Diamondbacks 2-1 going into Game 4 tonight at Chase Field in Arizona. Back then, we all watched the World Series because what else was on? We only got hockey games on one night a week. Do you remember? Are you old enough? For folks that don't know, Darren was born in 1987. Like, it was huge news when they went to a doubleheader, which I believe was in 97. With all the options now, it's not that big of a deal to say that Game 1 of this World Series was the lowest viewed Game 1 in World Series history since they've been tracking it, because there's so many other things on television now. That's not a, you know, people, that's my point. People are writing in, and they have a lot to say about that. I mean, all the options and the content that's available. It's a wonder they have any ratings at all when you think about it, man.
Yeah, like, look, when I was a kid, I thought I was the hockey nut because I would sit down at 5:30 for Hockey Night in Canada. I'd watch that whole game, and I'd stay up for a second game. Okay, that's how much I loved hockey. Now, you got to watch it in the afternoon. You got to watch it in the night. You got to watch it at late night. Football, you watch it from, noon or 11 a.m. with the pregame shows all the way until midnight. All day, all night, then the next night. Like, it's just overload with how much there is available. And you're right, like, the ratings, of course, it's not like the ratings necessarily went down. They were just spread out amongst more things, just like you said.
Well, I'm at least open-minded enough to listen to what people are saying and try and find a way. And believe me, I will find a way. 40 years ago would have been a lot easier to morph the Florida crowd and the Game Plus RP show show, but there's more options now. They're like, they want to hear about their teams here. And so that's why we started the Cats and Bolts podcast, and that's going really well because there's a lot of Panthers and Lightning fans, which incidentally, for last night's NHL games, now you can watch your own team's games every flipping game. You never used to be able to do that. I mean, I read the article in the Regina Leader-Post yesterday about the attendance for the Regina Pats hockey team, which we all knew was coming. As soon as Connor Bedard left, the attendance was going to drop. But I see the president of the hockey team, who's a very good guy, he's saying, yeah, we're about on track where we normally are. But what's he going to say? I guess. But Connor Bedard was playing with Chicago at Vegas that same night as the Pats were home Friday night. What are you going to do? Bedard had all these legion of fans. I'd rather watch Bedard. And again, 20 years ago, that Panthers game at Boston last night wouldn't have been on television, so I'd have been watching the World Series. But guess what? It was on television. So I watched the Florida Panthers blow a 2-0 lead at Boston and lose 3-2 in overtime. And guess what I'm doing today? With the interactive nature of the world, I'm going back and forth with Florida Panthers fans and media about the Panthers' 3-on-3 overtime strategy and how that needs to change. Frankly, Bomber Boy in Calgary writes in and says... He says, the fan interaction is what makes the RP show elite. The Rod Squad is blessed. Thanks, Moose and RP. That's the thing. We can all come together and talk about our favorite teams and leagues together. That's what we do. Yeah. But we've spent enough time on the struggles of the Flames and what other, we're going to move on. I mean, we talked about the Winnipeg Jets losing in overtime last night to the New York Rangers. What was it? Was it 3-2 or 4-3? Either way, I think a point lost to a non-conference team like the Rangers is not that big of a deal to the Jets, and the fans there don't seem to be overly upset. And I get the gal Rhonda writing in. She wants to talk about the World Series, but I didn't even watch it. So there's a lot of other shows talking World Series. I appreciate that she's into it. I'm just not really into it. And before I move on to throat protectors and neck guards, do you have any other thoughts before I move on? Because I covered a lot there, Moose.
No, you covered a lot. I think that's great. And, I don't know how much opportunity there's going to be the rest of the show, but the one other, if you want to throw something else into the mix, haven't talked a lot of college football in a little while, but one other wrinkle on Halloween, is the college football playoff for the first time is going to release their top 4 in the playoff, their rankings right now. So there's a lot of talk about what their rankings will be because they'll differ from the AP 25.
We're incredibly inclusive and clearly diverse on this show. But it dawned on me about 2 weeks ago. I was like, all college football did was just give me something to do until hockey started.
Yeah.
I'm not spending as much time on collegepressbox.com, and I go to every single Panthers game. I follow the Lightning as much as I can. Now, our poll question, as we talked about earlier, which is brought to you daily by Key Auto Group. And by the way, the Key Auto Group is driven by safety. Experience peace of mind with our comprehensive multi-point inspections. Visit keyautogroup.ca. For automotive excellence, the question today is, should neck guards be mandatory at the pro and junior level in hockey? Just to bring this all back, I am not going to let go control of this show because it is the Rod Pedersen Show, and what's never changed is that we are the view for sports fans. Coffee table discussion every day. That's it. You can come in and sit down at the coffee table, but the majority rules. And I think it is with Adam Johnson having his throat slashed on the weekend by a skate. I'm frankly disgusted about the media coverage that there's a police investigation that this was not an accident. Just, I don't get triggered or as upset as I used to. I've found a way to not. But that's dumb, and it's an insult to him. It's unfair to the opposition that night. One thing I really liked that they did was that last night in Pittsburgh, or the night before, Darren, where instead of a moment of silence, the announcer at PBG Paints Arena said, let's give him one last cheer. And the roof went off the place. Did you see that? What a way to do things.
So cool. That's so cool. Different. It stands out. It's memorable. That's pretty cool. And for the family and anybody who was watching that, they'll remember that for a long time. Pretty emotional.
Well, you said that people, this is what sets this show apart from every other one. The Rod Pedersen Show and Darren dressed as a male stripper. You're not going to see that everywhere today, thank God. But I watch at the Panthers games, I sit with Bill Lindsay's dad, Junie. Okay, he's 92, and he fought in the Korean War. I've got a point. Every single game, they honor the military of the game. And you know, if you watch this show regularly, I say I get very upset at the people that don't get their fat ass out of their chair and stand up to applaud all veterans in attendance, and specifically the one that night that they're honoring. So the other night, they had a 100-year-old military vet. He's in a wheelchair. He had his family around him. And I turned to Junie, who's 92, from Big Fork, Montana. And he's an American, obviously, as is his wife. She's from Alabama. We've really gotten to know each other. And I said, Junie, that guy'd think you're a young whippersnapper. And he goes, not many of those guys left. So anyways, Darren, I don't know what you would do. Tell me what you think I would do. The place goes nuts, standing ovation. His kids help him. They put one arm under his armpit, and they lift him up so he can stand up. And he stands at 100. And these jackwagons, not all of them, but some in the press box, didn't even stand. They didn't even look. Too busy with their nose and typing like this. I could have strangled the sons of bitches. 1:11 Eastern, 11:11 Mountain. Like what?
I know.
Again. Talked myself down, didn't get triggered, but I'm like, you can't get off your ass. This guy's 100, fought so you can sit there and be a lazy turd. And he's getting up, but you won't? Oh, my God. Right or wrong here?
The anger is right. I mean, it's just, have some respect. Stand, applaud, stand for the anthem, do those things, right? Just because you're behind, the glass, or you're up in a press box or in a suite, and you're not in the stands in a seat, doesn't mean you shouldn't stand and be respectful in these moments. I think pay attention to those things. I agree with you.
That's all I could do. Thank God I got good friends that calmed me down. Because the old
I'm at the point
would have not only said something, I would have laid a hand on them. Go ahead. You're at the point. Yes.
Well, the other part of that is walking the concourse when the anthem's playing. Do you stop or do you keep walking? Well, if you could hear the anthem and you're in the building, I think common courtesy would be to stop and take your hat off and wait till the anthem's done, right? You're in the building. Why not? But you see people, still walking to their seats. You don't stop in the aisle. When the anthem plays, you usually stop and take your hat off and show some respect.
I'm smiling because Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, writes in, he says, the press box at any sporting event is a strange place. What's the worst unwritten rule of the press box? Or written rule? It's that you can't cheer. But the thing is, I don't care. And if you have a problem in any arena that I'm in the press box, just ask me to leave, and I will. And they never do. But here's me and Junie sitting together, and when the Panthers score, we both jump up. Yeah! We don't care, because it's been established long ago that the rest of the media, a lot of them don't even like me. And I don't care, because I've understood why that is. So I'm going to cheer. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. And if that is a problem, just ask me to leave, because they never, ever do. This dawned on me the other day. And again, going off on a bit of a tangent, but that's okay, because this is entertaining stuff. It's at least entertaining to me, and that's all that matters. We talked about how you used to have to pay your dues in this business, and you don't have to pay your dues anymore. That's fine. It's like you look a certain way, you talk a certain way, we're going to pluck you out and put you in this role. Doesn't matter that you didn't pay your dues. That doesn't bother me anymore, because you and I talked on the phone this morning about the rest of the media is upset at all the scoops that I'm getting in a variety of ways, whether it's the Rough Riders head coach or who's going to be the next GM of whatever NHL team, whatever. You can check a box or, satisfy some political statement by putting this person in that role, but that does not account for the fact that that person didn't ride 6 hours side by side with the coach on a bus from Prince George to Kamloops in the middle of the night. Or didn't drive 5.5 hours to go speak at a banquet with that coach and back. Or have each other's back in a disagreement in a Vancouver alley behind a nightclub. Do you know what I mean? That's the ties that bind in this business. So it doesn't bother me anymore. It's not exclusive anymore to be a highfalutin play-by-play person. Anybody can get that job now. We're seeing it. But the relationships that are built by paying your dues are irreplaceable. Sorry.
You're right. You're right. And it's the relationship business, right? You can have the opportunity and the job, but to excel, those are things that matter. And they'll never be able to take away relationship from anybody. Period.
That's the point. Chad in Lethbridge writes in, he says, I love the rant, Roddy. Respect those who fought for us and made our country free. It's too bad the world is the way it is today. Us Sasky boys have been raised right. Well, Don Cherry's from Kingston, Ontario. He lost his job over a similar rant. And the thing is, it's hours and hours and hours of therapy have made me realize I'm the one that's triggered. Although I might not necessarily be wrong, I'm never going to get to that guy. He's never going to stand up. So me getting upset is just useless. It's just getting me upset. So anyways, we will talk about tonight's games in sports and the rest when we come back. We are live on the Game Plus television network. Rod Black is on the way too. WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
2 million liters of power creates electricity. Electricity creates.
View Casino.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
RP show continues. We're expecting to have Rod Black. He very rarely is not on time, but he's not with us. We're going to bring the Moose back in, and I never did get to what I wanted to. Bill in Toronto writes in, Darren, on this Halloween. He says, hey, Rod, tell Moose he should have dressed up as Don Cherry. LOL. Can I handle that one? I think Moose is doing just fine. There's nothing wrong with what you're wearing at all. Rhonda in Swift Current writing in, she says, totally agree with you, Rod, on the standing for the vets. It's all about respecting people. You should have called them out. Now, if I had, I would have been probably asked to leave the press box. So my good friends tell me to shut my mouth quite regularly, and I actually listen to them for once in my life. I finally do. So the poll question is, should neck guards be mandatory? Rick in Regina writes in, he says, hey, Rod, all kids in hockey wear neck and throat protectors growing up. They're used to wearing them. Placanitz wore one as a pro. When does it become not mandatory? I'm assuming when your amateur hockey status is over, your minor hockey, when you move into junior or pro. And between 70 and 80% of our respondents are saying, yes, it should be made mandatory. We have not spent as much time on this as I would have liked. And I think this is, when it hits home with families and anybody who's played a sport, that's something you can spend some time on. I think it's literally time for this to happen. And I think if you went to the pros and said, guys, you got to wear throat protectors now, I don't even think they'd have a problem with it. Do you? They went to helmets, for God's sakes. What's the difference?
Yeah, I know. It just keeps moving. And I know there'll be one side of the audience that'll say, but when does it stop? Until they're all in bubble wrap and not playing the game anymore and no contact? But no, let's not go there. I like the comment about they've worn this their whole way through. You know, you wear neck guards all the way through. You wear helmets all the way through. You wear half visors at the, junior hockey. And if you go the NCAA route, you wear neck protectors and full face masks the whole time too. I don't know if they're wearing throat protectors, but you wear the full face mask all the way through. So everything you've done to play hockey at the highest level, to earn a professional career, has been with a full face mask. What's the difference if you just keep wearing it the rest of your career, right? It's not like you're taking away something. You're just keeping it on, and I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I think the players would be agreeable to it. Okay, Rod is with us. So, Darren, happy Halloween. Thank you for all this. Have fun. Go trick-or-treating. Be safe, for God's sakes, and take your parents with you. Okay.
Happy Halloween.
Dougal Cameron writes in on the standing for the military vets salutation. Dougal in Calgary says, bang effing on, Rod. That's the take of the year on Remembrance Day. And Jason in Winnipeg says, people getting play-by-play jobs because of the check-a-box shows the quality of some of the new play-by-play announcers. We need more Chris Cuthbert, Don Cherry, and Bob Cole. Thank you. Okay. I can't even imagine. Don't disappoint me, Rod Black. Please tell me you dressed up for Halloween in this RP show appearance today. Come on. No, you didn't. What are you dressed as? I should not. I should.
I'm dressed as the lesser Rod.
How about that?
Stop it. Stop it. Happy Halloween, Rod Black.
There you are. I wish I was. I was going to wear I had a Rod Pedersen mask all set, and then I got on the road and I got in traffic. So this is, I'm not driving, by the way, I'm parked. But what was your take on Remembrance Day? I want to hear it.
Safety first. Oh, listen, every game at the Panthers here, they introduce a military vet, and a lot of the media doesn't stand. And I'd never have ever said anything, but the other day the guy was 100 years old, and they helped him up out of his wheelchair to stand and salute the crowd, and these guys can't get out their fat ass and even look up from their laptops to applaud the guy, let alone stand for him. It just, God, it pisses me off. That's what it was.
Well, dude, you said it. Fat ass. most of the guys, most of our brethren, and the people in our business. I want to just the men and women in our business often are so caught up in it, and I think sometimes we feel so entitled that there's no cheering in the press box. And they're right. I don't think there should be cheering in the press box unless it's something like that. I love the military salutes, the forces salutes, the nurses, the doctors, whoever it may be. We get caught up, Rod, so often in calling sports athletes heroes. No, they do great things. Heroes are the people who keep us safe, who protect us. Heroes are people who great things for the community. So yes, I love that take, and we should be saluting them every day. And I would even say up here in Canada, I know that Remembrance Day is very important, but I wish that we did it every single day. That we remembered our veterans, we remembered the people who are giving us the opportunity to do the things that we love to do today. We're not here, Rod, without them.
Yeah, I don't know where along the line that message got lost, but it needs to be remembered. Speaking of all that, talk about our media brethren that might be a little portly. I've known you a really long time, and I've often known you to be in very good shape. I've never asked you what is your training regimen or what do you do to keep that figure, Rod? What do you do? What's your secret?
My secret is drinking lots of vodka. No, I don't want to say that. My secret, I would say, is you know what, Rod? I mean, I love sports, and I love sports so much that I like to play sports. So I do play hockey 3 or 4 times a week. Still, I'm old, though. I've got those 60-year-old knees that aren't bouncing back. I've got a lot of I still got. I think I'm a teenager again playing. My teams that I play with, I used to be a pretty good player. Now they want me to be a stay-at-home forward. They want me to stay home every week. So I try to stay in shape. It's hard though. It's hard. It's especially hard after COVID. As people say, hey, you're in shape. Well, round is a shape too, so that's okay.
How about that?
Hockey
How about
3
that?
times a week. There you go. That's the answer. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Hey, you look to really have a blast calling those CEBL games this year. Were you having as much fun? And by the way, because you've been at the pinnacle with the NBA, you look just as excited doing both.
Yeah. You know what? I think I'm like you a lot. Is that I love doing games. I don't care where it was. I was doing some Ontario Junior Hockey League games last year, and I love doing them. I love sports events. People always ask me, what's the favorite sporting event you called? I say, well, tomorrow, and I do love them. I think the CEBL is fantastic. I love what they've done up in Saskatchewan with the Rattlers, and in Edmonton and Calgary, Winnipeg. They've got an incredible team. I think the league it's a perfect window, Rod. Still in the NBA playoffs, but before the summer league, we've got great players, great crowds. It's a real vibe, and I don't have to tell you, basketball is very popular among the our younger generation. Everybody loves basketball, it seems. And so, yeah, I mean, I get excited for them. I get excited about any game, man. If they got a rock, paper, scissors game going, I like calling that stuff too. So, hey, I can't wait to be calling pickleball. Are you playing pickleball
okay, what's
yet?
the story there?
Are you playing pickleball?
I bought Serena at Christmas last year a pickleball set and a tennis racket set. We haven't opened the pickleball, but here's a conversation the other day. We're sitting around a table, and the guy goes, "Do you know how to play pickleball?" Guy goes, "No." He goes, "Do you know how to play ping pong?" He goes, "Yeah." "Then you know how to play pickleball." That was a Florida conversation. Is that true?
I don't know. I do think it's crazy. I hate to name drop Timo Solana. I hate name droppers, by the way. I just want to tell you that. I said that to Justin Bieber earlier today. Anyway.
How about that?
There you go.
Very good. Yeah.
So Timo Solana was in Moose Jaw last year, one of your favorite places, and he was telling me about how he's playing pickleball these days. And everybody's got pickleball courts. The only problem is the noise. But all of my buddies, I haven't played yet. I want to start because I like tennis and I like ping pong. But my brother plays it a lot. A lot of people are playing it. I think it's really good for everyone, except the people apparently in the neighborhoods. It's very loud. I don't know if it's what it's like down in Florida, but it's very, very loud.
That's the first that I heard of it. But yeah, you're familiar with the Major League Pickleball. They air the games here on Game Plus. Sometimes we're preempted for Major League Pickleball, but G.D. Bouchard's playing. It's like everybody's playing. Which do you want to broadcast or do you want to play it? Maybe you could do both.
Well, I'd like to broadcast it too, because I'm telling you, I've seen the impressions, how many millions of people are watching. And by the way, it looks like, again, at first I thought it was, I don't know why it was called pickleball. And maybe I thought it maybe be sponsored by Viagra or something like that. How about that? There it is. There you go. I don't know why it was called pickleball. Somebody said it was called pickleball because the guy who invented it, his dog's name was Pickles. And I think that's actually what happened. Some people said it looked like the ball. It doesn't look like the ball. It doesn't look like a pickle. But when I first started looking at it and watching it and hearing about it, I thought, oh, this is old fart sport. But it's not. Some of these people are incredible at it. So, yeah, I think there are legs to it. I think sports is evolving to the point now where we're going to have more sports like that. We're going to see more things. I'd certainly like to see it before we get, and nothing against the gamers, but it's a sport. It's athletics. And anything that's athletic to me is worthy of broadcasting at some time.
Well, if you will, I just Googled it. They say that's urban legend as to where pickleball came from. And the dog story is certainly one of them. In 1965, in Bainbridge Island, Washington, they're calling it the fastest growing sport in America, which I don't doubt that it is. But I would love your take on this. You're an Olympics guy. You've called Olympics events. Flag football. I just saw an article that was sent to me the other day. A high school in L.A. had contested girls flag football for the first time ever, and they were so excited that these high school girls were able to play football, which was traditionally a guy's sport. And I'm like, yeah, pretty happy I got my foot in that door with flag football in America because it is exciting as hell. Listen, pickleball's cool. Flag football draws a crowd.
Yeah.
It's more entertaining to watch. How do you feel about that as an Olympic sport?
Yeah. I have no problem with it. I have no problem. But flag football, by the way, and I'm sorry against the flag football players. Yes, it resembles football, but it will never, ever replace football. I mean, people are talking someday. There's an element to football that it needs physicality, but I love flag football, and I play it with my buddies today. We're just not very good. We can never get any of the flags. But I would say that yes, it's something. Anything that's athletic. Look at how many sports are in the Olympics. They had ballroom dancing in the Olympics a few years ago. For goodness sake, I think it's also territorial in some aspects of where they're putting it in the Olympics. Certain cities like Los Angeles or in the United States, yes, flag football. Paris, for instance, next year there's no baseball, and then it will be coming back in other years. I think we're going to see some sports that we're going to lose down the road because there might not be as much interest that go back a long, long way. Remember when the Olympics started, Rod? They had tug of war. The tug of war was actually an Olympic sport. I don't think horseshoes was, but it was probably pretty close. But there are a number of sports. I do think that. Sorry, this thing keeps falling out. There are a number of sports that are questionable at times. But anything to me that's athletic and draws a crowd and creates interest, like flag football, which everybody can play, I think is good for the sport, good for sports, and good for Olympics.
Well, the NFL, look, is pushing the hell out of this, and probably was the biggest reason why flag football got adopted into the Olympics was because the NFL was behind it. They want to grow their brand. Those national championships I did in Charlotte, North Carolina, the NFL was a sponsor. Rod, here's breaking news. The NFL is not stupid. Did you know that? Did you know that?
Damn. No, they're not. They're not. They're not. They're not stupid at all.
You got a notification?
I mean, and anywhere they go, and not only that. I mean, I'm sure you're going to probably see flag football at Wembley Stadium. You know, I mean, they're not. I mean, there's a reason it's the number one sport, most watched, most bet, most attended in North America. There's a reason that NFL. By the way, Rod, and maybe I'm showing my age. I remember back in the 70s when I started loving the CFL. The CFL, a lot of the players from the NFL came north because they couldn't make the money in the National Football League to play in the CFL. So yes, the NFL has grown in leaps and bounds. It used to be probably 3, maybe 2 at one time. Baseball was up there. Hockey's never been there. It's still kind of trying to grow. Basketball, I think a few years ago, probably got close, but there's nothing like the NFL in North American sport. Nothing like it.
Well, you've been around it all, and don't forget that baseball was, for a long time, the national pastime, and football is just blown by that. How they did it, there's a book in the offing somewhere. I'd like to read it. I don't know how they did it, but they're blowing the doors off everybody. Listen, you got to go. Happy Halloween. Thanks to your family for waiting and allowing you to do this.
Hey, yes, happy Halloween. Be safe out there, everybody, tonight. I know you're not going as Travis Kelce. I know you're going as Taylor Swift. So enjoy that tonight, buddy.
Hell yes.
I got to get my outfit. You got it. Thanks, Rod. The great RB,
See you,
Rod Black, joining us. See you, man. Joining us from the 6. Whatever you'd like to talk about, it's all on the table the rest of the way. It's just you and me and the audience. You want to talk CFL stuff, Riders coach, tonight's NHL games, what's going to happen, Leafs and Kings, whatever. It's all to the top of the hour. We'll be right back on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
All right, welcome back, everybody, as the RP show continues, and we do have breaking news. Thank you, Clark, for alerting me to it. It's all over Twitter, which, incidentally, it'll always be Twitter to me. On this NFL trade deadline day, the Arizona Cardinals are sending quarterback Josh Dobbs to the Minnesota Vikings. So after losing Kirk Cousins to a torn Achilles on the weekend, Minnesota brings in Dobbs, who started the first 8 games for Arizona. Options in the quarterback room alongside rookie Jaron Hall. So this started yesterday. Doesn't say anything. Have you seen anywhere, Clark, what's going back the other way? Talk about the rush to get it out first. Yeah, it doesn't say what's, and I apologize to put you on the spot. All it says is the Minnesota Vikings are acquiring quarterback Josh Dobbs from the Arizona Cardinals. Yesterday, Tori Gurley was on this program saying they got to go get somebody. All they had behind Kirk Cousins is a rookie, and but not like Josh Dobbs is going to set the world on fire, but it's something. The beauty of daytime sports talk, huh? Funny what you learn. Sports update. The Toronto Maple Leafs are back home to face the Los Angeles Kings at Scotiabank Arena tonight. The Leafs are coming off a 5-game road trip where they earned 7 of a possible 10 points. Also tonight, the Vancouver Canucks go for their 6th win in 9 starts as they host the Nashville Predators at Rogers Arena. By the way, as I said, it's just you and me to the end of the program. 19 more minutes, 902-518-3033. Whatever you'd like. What do they say on Twitter? The guys say, I got some time at the airport departure gate. I'll open my mentions. Or mailbag back in the day. We do a poll on Instagram at The Rod Pedersen Show almost daily that says, what's your game of the night? There are only two in the NHL, and I got to say, tonight, it's the Kings and the Leafs. The rematch of the 1993 Clarence Campbell Conference Final. Doesn't matter who's favored. Bomber Boy wrote in here earlier and said, Clark, perk up for a sec. Bomber Boy wrote in and said, William Nylander doesn't look himself so far this season. Is he not on a torrid season-opening point streak? Wee Willie Nylander? He's got points in 12 straight games. If you mean by he looks better than himself, then I'll agree with you. The visiting Texas Rangers carry a 2-1 lead into Game 4 of the World Series with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Corey Seager smacked a 2-run home run in the Rangers' 3-1 win Monday night in Phoenix. Texas will send Andrew Heaney to the mound tonight against Arizona's Joe Mantiply in a battle of southpaws. I hope I'm saying that right. And, I love Rhonda in Swift Current, Serena's old teammate, as it turns out, saying I'm mispronouncing the baseball players' names. It feels good and a little ironic on Halloween to say I've ripped the mask off. It reminds, all I care about is hockey and football. And while I'm perked up in interest in who's going to win this World Series, I haven't watched the pitch because there are all these other options out there. So it reminds me of climbing on the bus. 1993 as the 20-year-old voice of the Prince Albert Raiders, having just worked an 8-hour shift on the morning sports and about to drive 4 hours through a flippin' blizzard to Regina to call a game. And having Don Clark, God rest his soul, this is not anything against Donnie the person, Wendell's older brother, Wendell Clark's brother, Don Clark, but saying, hey, what do you think about the sports world? What do you think about that Game 3 of the World Series? What? Can I get some sleep here? But you're only 20. I've been up since 4. I thought you were a sports guy. And then having to carry the conversation for the next 4 hours because I felt bad. No, I'm going to go to sleep. I'm not going to watch the World Series, and I don't know how to say the name Mantiply. Mask off. The Toronto Raptors have the day off after dropping their third game in a row. Toronto fell to 1-3 on the season with a 99-91 home loss to the previously winless Portland Trailblazers Monday night. The Raps finish up a 3-game homestand tomorrow against the Milwaukee Bucks. Fire the coach. Am I doing it right? James Harden's getting his trade to the Clippers. The Associated Press has learned the Philadelphia 76ers are sending Harden, P.J. Tucker, and Philip Petrusev to L.A. for Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, Nicola Batum, K.J. Martin, and multiple draft picks. The 34-year-old Harden, a former NBA MVP, vowed he would never play for the franchise run by 76ers team president Daryl Morey. Yes, I'm chuckling because I'm thinking about the video we all saw in the summer of James Harden, the beard, where he called out Daryl Morey. What did he call him, a liar and a phony?
Hot damn.
When I saw that, I was like, what if he is? What if he's right? Oh, you can't say that. Well, why not? This sports update brought to you by Landmark Cinemas in theaters November 17th. Hunger Games, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Experience the story of the Hunger Games 64 years before Katniss Everdeen volunteered as tribute and decades before Coriolanus Snow became the tyrannical president of Panem, starring Rachel Zegler and Tom Blythe. Do me a favor and tell me how it is. In theaters November 17th, Landmark Cinemas, Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. That's my life every day.
How about that?
And we're also brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company. turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. We'll get to your comments and questions next in Audience Takeover in overtime for OT Hockey Lanes in Calgary. We'll be right back on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Overtime's brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. See what we did there? 28th Street Northeast, just a slap shot away from the old Crossroads Flea Market. It is where skill and fun collide, an amusement park for hockey enthusiasts. Overtime Hockey Lanes. I don't know what's going on there, but it seems like they're busy every day because Randy's sending me photos from all the teams that gather around the Rod Pedersen Show logo on the wall at Overtime Hockey Lanes. To be honest, Kevin, the medium's watching right now, our sales coordinator. A year ago, if you told me that our name and logo would be on a hockey lane wall in Calgary, it would have blown my mind. I wouldn't have believed it. We're just so honored to be partnered with them. Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Go check them out and tell me how it is. We got some interesting comments coming in. Clark told me in my ear just as we were coming out of break that we've got 8 minutes. I'm like, that won't be hard. Nope. And I can make it entertaining too. We talked about growing in this business of sports media right now. It's hard to do, but we are. And Rhonda in Swift Current is a new viewer, and she's a friend of Serena's. And if that's the case, she's clearly cheeky. And if she's a friend of Serena's, she's going to be. And she writes in and says, it's okay if you don't like baseball. It's kind of a smart person's sport. LOL. You got something for that, Clark? Here's the thing. I didn't say I didn't like it. You're not listening. I said I'd rather watch the Florida Panthers and Boston Bruins. 20 years, 30 years ago, it wasn't an option to watch my favorite team in the NHL play every game, so I would have had to watch the World Series. And I would have liked it. Never said I don't like baseball, but I'm going to watch the Florida Panthers that were playing at the same time. And if it wasn't for the Panthers playing, I'd have been watching Monday Night Football. It's a very competitive time of year. But I'm not anti-baseball. And I'm not anti-Leafs. Bomber Boy, this is interesting. He writes in, he goes, wasn't talking about Nylander. I guess I wasn't listening. I just caught myself. I just stepped in my own pile. He said Mitch Marner doesn't look himself. Not Nylander. Do you agree with that, Clark? I think he looks totally like himself. Not doing much. I think he looks totally like himself. And by the way, you're a Bomber fan living in Calgary, so stop talking about the Leafs. Worry about your own team. And now, having said all that, Mike in Calgary writes in, and he says, Roddy, this is on Twitter. You can also write us on Twitter. There's a variety of ways to get a hold of us. That's both a good thing and a bad thing. Mike says, Roddy, as a diehard Flames fan, my issue is with the work ethic. When your top two players totaling $17.5 million don't come to play, then that's a concern. That's a care factor. That's two leaders that are damaging the culture. As a fan, all I want is effort. That's it. That's all. You're kind of wandering into chicken and egg territory there, because you're talking about Jonathan Huberdeau and Nazem Kadri, who were pretty damn good in their last stops, Florida and Colorado. Putting that out there. You're going to tell me Huberdeau and Kadri are destroying Flames culture? But I don't want to argue. We are all about inclusivity here and diversity, and you do you. I just think that the Flames problem goes far deeper than those two guys. But that's just me. And I do want to, for the Rider fans that are watching, spend a minute on this. Like, the playoffs are this weekend, and I follow things pretty closely. I don't see anybody talking about the games. And that's fine. I mean, I dropped a little nugget today about Cody Fajardo and waiting for everybody to admit they were wrong about him. Sparked quite a debate. I didn't see any other debates on social media today about the CFL. And with the 9 teams in the Canadian Football League, there will only be one hiring a coach this offseason, and it's Saskatchewan. And frankly, I guess if Henry Burris is already feeling the need to sell himself as to why he should be the next coach of Saskatchewan, then I would almost say to Hank, don't bother. And we're about the same age. We've been friends a long time. But people are saying, I saw Henry's quote that he said, so I spent 17 years playing. What if I'd spent 17 years coaching? What's the difference? And I totally get what he was building a Hall of Fame career, winning Grey Cups on the field. It's not his fault. He wasn't building his coaching resume. That's what the coaches were doing that couldn't play. But again, it's Henry's not manufactured. He's had a chip on his shoulder for his entire career since I've known him since 2000. He's not giving up. But again, if he needs to already, before he's even probably interviewed for the job, sell himself as to why he should get the job, it's not worth it if you're Henry. And He's like a lot of guys that have come out of their careers. That's why if people say, Rod, why have you had so much success in the recovery business with athletes? It's because I get it. You come out of doing something for a very long time, a generation, you feel kind of lost. You don't know what to do. Henry was that. If you noticed, he was running football clinics in Ottawa. He was on the TSN panel. None of that scratched the itch for him. He wants to coach. He wants to stay in the game. So now you're going to come around and say he can't coach because he was playing for too long? It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And by the way, we talked about it, a football guy on the weekend, a guy here in the States, and he goes, well, Henry better have a very veteran staff around him. I'm sure he probably will. It's that whole thing about life when you set what you want to do. Henry wants to coach. He'll figure it all out. It's like punching in the address on the GPS. Just punch in the address, let the GPS figure out how you're going to get there. That's what I did. I want to be in Florida. I want to change my life. This is what I want to do. The rest of the world, figure it out. That's what happened. Henry's being penalized for having a Hall of Fame career because he wasn't coaching. Now, it's somewhat unconventional. You don't see a lot of Hall of Fame guys go on to coach. Montana didn't. Michael Irvin hasn't. Tom Brady's not coaching. Henry wants to. That should say something about Hank. Last minute of play in hour one. You notice we're pushing the football to later in the week because that's what we do. Nobody's talking about it but Rider fans and football people. That's it. Everybody else is excited about the NHL games and the NFL and Halloween costumes and neck guards, which, by the way, does need to be talked about. But they're not talking about who's going to coach the Riders. So I wanted to spend some time on it today because it's important to me. But I'll tell you what, guy texted me Saturday night about it. I was coming back from the Kraken game. Waited till I got home. I said, buddy, I'm not spending my Saturday night anymore thinking about who's going to coach the Riders. It's not my life anymore. He seemed a little upset about it, but he finally got it. I'll talk about it a bit, but I won't talk about it every day. Great job today, Rod Black and Colin Patterson. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow, noon Eastern, here on Game Plus and Key Radio.
Who has more fun than us?